Mike Silver, longtime NFL writer and reporter, FOB, friend of Brady, joining us now in the Canes chair. How you doing, Michael?
Great. There we go.
Try it again.
I'm way better now that my mic is on. I'm good. This is the best of all Super Bowl cities by far, and it's been a long time since
Too long.
The lights went out in early 2013.
Too long.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
So Mike is here with Renegade Fantasy Football. Also has just released a book, The Why Is Everything. It's sort of an inside look at the Shanahan-McVay coaching tree and how that's really sort of revolutionized football. So the why is everything. We were given a couple of excerpts that I'll just read like the bold headline on, and you can expand on, because these two struck us. One, on Kyle Shanahan ripping both Sean McVay's and Bill Belichick's coaching during a team meeting in the offseason following Super Bowl 53 between the Pats and Rams. What did Shanahan rip on Belichick?
Well, this was the context. Shanahan and Bill have a bromance, so he says he's talking to his team, and he says in the speech, Bill's the man, like Belichick's the man, but he was making a point about how the Patriots blew coverage a couple of times, one quarter in specific, on balls that would have worked on a deep route, but that Jared Goff at the time was so programmed by McVay to just throw to a predetermined spot instead of reading it out, that even when Goff turned his back on a play action and looked back and should have seen what could have been an obvious touchdown, he threw to the other guy, and the Patriots, despite a flaw in coverage, were able to break one up and later intercept one. And so I think he was making a larger point to his team, but it is pretty funny. Goff saw the book and was like, okay, now I'm mad. And the Lions were getting ready to play the 49ers, so that was convenient. I'm sure Bill's mad just because my name's on it, but so there is a lot in the book about the bromance between Kyle and Bill, which, believe it or not, starts after the infamous Super Bowl 51 collapse. Kyle gets a voicemail a couple days later from Bill, and he says, first of all...
Thanks for throwing on second down?
No, he says, first of all, congratulations. That was an incredible game plan, and explains... It's explained in the book what they did to get out on the edges and, do what they did in the first 2.5 quarters. And he sincerely congratulates them. And then he says, and secondly, bleep you, because now everyone's going to do that to me next year, and it's going to be, it's going to be a nightmare. So from that phone call, a bromance was born that led to the Jimmy Garoppolo trade and some other stuff.
Interesting. Okay, here's a second blurb. Headline, Mike Vrabel clashed with Matt LaFleur in Tennessee. So how does that inform us about Mike Vrabel and how he might manage the Patriots going forward? First of all, tell the story, and what does it mean?
Well, I've known Vrabel forever, and I know LaFleur really well. Love them both, but I always thought it was a weird couple. And when LaFleur at first didn't get the Titans job, then they asked him to be the OC potentially, or to interview, and McVay at first said no because he was technically the OC with the Rams, but LaFleur said, look, it's a play calling OC, it would mean a lot to me, and then he let him out. I think a lot of people going in thought, oh man, this could, Vrabel's he's very opinionated, and he comes from a certain way of doing it, and Matt likes his way, and there was a lot of like, well, here's how we did it in New England, and Matt's like, I don't care, so given all that, I thought it went pretty well. You'll remember they had a chance to make the playoffs that first season, but Marcus Mariota was ruled out of a game without even really trying to play 5 days early, and I think with Blaine Gabbert they lost a winner-in game. But there was some thought that maybe Vrabel would even fire LaFleur after that first season. It never got there because he was hired as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, where he remains today.
You also have some stuff on Garoppolo when he first signed that contract in San Francisco. What did he do that surprised the folks in San Fran?
Yeah, see, this is very personal to me because I covered that for NFL Network. I was doing stand-ups. I was talking to Jimmy. It was a great day. And then after that, they had this big reception. It was good news for a franchise which had been struggling and fired a bunch of coaches, and now we've got the highest paid quarterback in football. And Jimmy came to the party for a couple minutes, and then he disappeared. And then I think they saw him in late July, which for a starting quarterback, let alone a high-paid franchise quarterback.
So
is rare.
He didn't answer the phone. He didn't respond to texts. He ghosted them, basically.
Yeah, Jimmy's not great with the phone and with texts, even with teammates and bosses. And so I think a lot of people in that building, certainly Kyle, were like, wait, what just happened? And, he did have a rough 2018. I will tolerate no Jimmy Garoppolo slander, though. I am the Garoppolo fan club president.
Was it at all indicative of how he continued to act during his time there? Like, did it get any better?
It got really good after they traded 3 number ones to take Trey Lance. That offseason, Jimmy did everything. Had a monster offseason, but that was more of an aberration. I think Jimmy just, Jimmy worked hard when he was there, but I think he cherished his time away. And, Brady got to that point where he was doing that, but Tom Brady,
Yeah, he had
Tom
earned
Brady.
it by that point. Yeah.
What are you going to say? Yes, sir.
This is Mike Silver we're talking. He's, again, the author of It's All About the Why Is Everything. The Why Is Everything. So buy that at Amazon. I'm sure booksellers near you. On Tom Brady, what do you think the future holds for him? Do you think he's going to be able to keep together this role in ownership and broadcasting? And what do you think he wants to do? There was Florio here next door, I think, was saying today that some teams have gotten the impression that he's not into the broadcasting thing.
I mean, listen, I think he'll do what he wants and it'll work out like it usually does. But I personally don't think he needs to be broadcasting and great at it. But he seems to want to. I think it's cool that he's already got so much power running an NFL franchise that needs it, frankly. And, the difference between Peyton and Brady is if Peyton decided to get in and run a team, Peyton would be like, I'm in charge, you're fired, I'm Peyton Manning, and it would look like Peyton Manning on the field. I think Brady more is his style is don't make it look like I'm running the Raiders, let's just have me, so I don't know what he wants. I did say to him, I saw him very early in the season, and we talked a little about broadcasting, and I got back in touch with him later, and I basically said, who I would love to, sit in a bar and listen to talk about a football game I'm watching? The most ruthless competitor in the history of the sport. In other words,
you.
I think you are enough, and I know broadcasting has some tricks of the trade, and I certainly got better in my broadcasting as time went on, but I don't want him to overthink it. You're Tom Brady. I've never seen someone compete like you, and I really care what you think.
Why do you think he hired Pete Carroll and not Bill Belichick?
I just think let's not underestimate the Patriot way fatigue in that building after Josh. And, Ziegler, who I don't think was as much like that, but Josh came in saying, I'm a new guy, I'm not going to really be that way, but was enough that way. And that would have been fine if Josh was winning. It didn't happen. Jimmy was part of that. So I just think it's one thing for Mark Davis to be like, man, I should have signed Tom as a player. I love Tom. I just want Tom here as part of this. But if Tom was then all right, here's what we're going to do. Bill's going to come in and run every facet of this. He'll probably have Josh as his host. I think it would have been a little bit of a leap. And I also think, Brady and Bill are so hyper-competitive as individuals. And, of course, it didn't end great with them. So they may be cool, but I don't know that they're that cool. And, I'm excited for Pete. I wish both Bill and Pete had gotten jobs this cycle. I think Pete's going to be really good.
Okay. Mike Silver, again, his book, The Why Is Everything. Also, Renegade Fantasy Football. Want to just give me 30 seconds on Renegade Fantasy Football, or 15? As quickly as you can do
I'm so glad you asked. Fantasy football, it sucks if your guy gets hurt or isn't getting touches. If only you could do something to save the game or the season. You can now. Real-time substitution. Imagine the ability to keep hope alive. Your quarterback sucks, put in the other quarterback. Your running back got hurt, we got a guy on the bench, and we have the tech to do it. We're so excited. In all of fantasy football's history, you've been like an owner GM who helplessly watches the game. Now you're the coach. You're the Mike Vrabel of your fantasy football team.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Not a bad pitch. Mike Silver, thanks for coming by.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.